All right, everybody. You gotta let me know. Does my mic sound fine, or does it sound like I'm across the room? I don't remember what setting I need to switch it to. It's one of these two. Yeah, let's go Wolves, dude. What a good game. That was such a sick game. God, Anthony Edwards is insane. This stuff here quick. Yeah, that was such a good game, man. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens here in that series. Hopefully we take another one here tonight and come back to Minnesota down 2-0. Sounds good. Let's go. My wife's taking a nap here, so I'm going to kind of try to be a little bit quiet here, but this is actually insanely important, and it's very time sensitive, so we all need to make our voices heard. This is one of the big problems here for the last however long in the United States. We haven't been educated enough. We haven't been up to date. We haven't been paying attention to these types of things that they're doing. So what they do is when we're looking one way, they try and slip the shit in. But now we're watching, we're paying attention, and we need to know people to let these guys know. Congress, hey, we're watching the shit. We know what you guys are doing and what you're letting them get away with. This is how we hold them accountable and how we stop this shit. So again, share this video. If you don't care about AMC, that's fine. Just watch this first 5, 10, 15 minutes and go on your way. So let's get into this CAT system here right away. We have a big update here now. Somebody brought this. I got to go on Twitter. Somebody brought this to my attention. I want to make sure he gets his credit as well. 1 second here. No, I gotta go back. 1 second. I gotta go back here. I know it's I'll keep looking while I'm talking here. But basically, what ended up happening is, I think it's right here. Nope, here, I'll keep looking. I'll find you. I'll find you by the end of this. But either way, okay, so one of the things that was going to change the entire game, as we went over a couple weeks ago with the CAT system, was they're going to also add market maker short exempts to the transactions, to each one of the pings. So they knew even when they were going to do their market maker exemptions, this was going to create chaos. And this is exactly what I told you was one of the things they were very scared of. Because one of the main things we learned in the Overstock lawsuit is they're able to, if they're bona fide market makers, take FTDs and reset them and reset them and reset them with fake shares that have not been located. And this is a giant way that they create. A lot of people talk about synthetic shares, and it's one of the things that it really is to me is a lot of these FTDs that are being reset. They're being moved. And one of the main things that these guys are able to do from market maker to market maker, as we're learning, is reset these transactions as long as they have another firm. As remember how we went over before, over and over, they kept getting enough right show, and everyone's like, what? The price action didn't move. And then we learned as long as they have another party, willing to take on the obligation, it can reset the transaction. Well, also, if they're bona fide market makers, that's the other client that is talking, okay, we'll go ahead and take on that transaction. They get a whole different set of rules, and they're actually able to use what I talked about right here, you guys. I've been talking about it for years. Rule 203B, fill before locate. They are able to abuse this exemption. Now, one of the things that it talks about here is if you come down and look at the rule that they added that was going to change the game, it specifically talks about Rule 203B. Now, a lot of people, if you've been watching me for years, everything, you see everything I've talked about for years keep coming up, keep coming up, keep coming up. Everybody's always like, oh, you're wrong about this. No, it's the same shit. I'm just wrong about how they say they're going to fix it, because they always say they're going to fix it and it looks correct, and then they do this stuff. Now, the rule here that was approved in October of 2023, it says down here specifically Rule 13F2. Now, listen, this is why it was going to change everything. Will require institutional investment managers that meet or exceed the threshold, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go down to here. Hold on. 1 second here. No, I'm not worried about that one. Sorry, it's the one right under it. The commission also adopted the amendment today to the CAT system and the consolidated audit trail. The amendment to the NSM plan considers now will require each CAT reporting firm that is reporting short sales to indicate when it is asserting the use of the bona fide market maker exemption in Rule 203 of Regulation Show. So again, this rule was now going to require reporting short sales to indicate when it's using the bona fide market maker exemption in Rule 203B for Reg Show. So in other words, there's tons of FTDs that these guys have been passing back and forth. They're not getting filled. They're just mounting up. And these are the FTDs I've been talking about. These are a lot of the hidden FTDs under the iceberg that nobody talks about, because technically, as long as they're market makers, they can keep getting these exemptions and passing them along. And when the CAT system comes, what happens now is they're going to know when they're passing it to reset these things, because they basically can, the reporting of when they're passing it, all of this shit can be delayed. And like I said, it's a complete joke. So what this is going to do, like I showed you before, the CAT system now, it will have a date and time, it will have a venue ID, a broker ID, a customer ID, an execution ID. So it will know, is that, like I told you, at what part of the stage of execution that it's at. It'll know. So when it's filled at the end, it'll be an F right here, for an example, if people still don't understand. So at the end, it will say filled, because the order's filled. So, and the execution will be completed. It will be filled. So if it goes from a market maker, if it goes from retail to market maker, it'll have a different ID. If it goes from a broker to a lit exchange, it'll have a different ID. If it goes from a broker to a market maker, it'll have a different ID. So it'll always know the path of execution that is currently being taken, and at what phase of execution and life cycle it goes throughout the entire trade here, which is 4 pings. Now, the thing that they're freaking out about is this column here was now added. It also now has a market maker ID, and it also has a firm ID. It also knows if it's long or short. Okay, so I went over this a couple weeks ago. This is why the CAT system is so deadly to these guys, because a lot of their passing of the FTDs to do what we call, as I went over a long time ago, sham reset transactions. They can literally keep resetting these FTDs, but they don't do it through shares, you guys. They don't go out and buy these shares. Look what they do. Why have I talked about ISDA forever? Because what they do is they go into ISDA, they write a master agreement with each other, and as you can see here in the lawsuit that Overstock won, they will create in these master agreements flex options, married puts, and buy rights. And what that will do is they can keep on doing these and just pay a small fee. And when these people come and check, well, they got the locations there. They got the locations there because they got them from another company. Bona fide, it's a market maker to market maker. Well, here's the thing. Now the new CAT system here, when you get this and they're sitting here and they're passing it back and forth, you will now have a market maker ID and a market maker ID over here. They will know when it's being marked as exempt over here and when it's being marked over here. They will always know when the obligations now are being passed around into who. And currently right now, what they're doing is, because you have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of market makers, because basically every fucking bank is one. There's countless market makers. Now what they're doing is they're sitting there passing it back and forth, passing the potatoes back and forth, passing the potatoes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, when you're delaying on reporting these potatoes over and over and over, it's just like shell companies and taxes. It's hard for them to track the shell companies. They're there for the tax. It's a lot harder when there's tons and tons and tons and tons involved. Delayed reporting here, delayed reporting there. In ISDA, it's mainly cleared between the two parties. So this is the biggest problem. It's not like it goes through it's not like it goes through, all the clearing houses and all that. It doesn't go through that process. It goes from one banker to the next banker. Okay, so they're clearing trades back and forth with each other. So they're passing these potatoes back and forth, and they're clearing it every single time. And then what they're doing is, I'll collect a fee, I'll collect a fee, I'll collect a fee, I'll collect a fee, over and over and over and over. And the SEC's running behind, can never catch up, can never keep up with this. And then on top of that, technically they're locates. So it's a complete fucking joke on what is happening. And a lot of this is where I keep saying, this is where I feel like a lot of these FTDs have been going, and how they can keep on going and going and going. But I have so many drawings, I can't even see which one's the right one. You just assume it's this one. I wanted to open this thing. Yeah, okay. So now what they want to do is they want to get rid of this column right here. What they're doing is they're voting on this, as you guys can see, tomorrow. This is why this is so sensitive right now. And trust me, you got Hester Pierce and all this, it's all backing it, and it's a fucking joke. So as you guys can see, that this has been adopted. Well, now what they're doing, if you guys come and look at their thing tomorrow, if you guys come and look down here, they're talking about the short sales. They're talking about basically getting rid of this act right here. They're talking about, it's right here on the agenda. Commission to short position, short activity by institutional investment managers, which this is what we just went over. This is what we literally just went over. They want to adjust this and get rid of this. And this is a huge, huge deal. So they're voting on this tomorrow. We all need to make sure. Spam Twitter, I don't care. Email your congressman, whatever you got to do. Make sure our voices are heard. This is fucking ridiculous. This needs to be left alone. This needs to be approved. I know Boss Blunts has put up a email template. If you have his Twitter, hold on, let me pull up his Twitter quick. Yeah, right here. So if you guys have Boss Blunts on Twitter, he made an email template down here. So if you guys want to go ahead and look at his email template, copy, paste it, put it to your Congress, send it to an email, do whatever you guys want to do to make your voices heard. Here's another one. I can, if you guys really, really, really want me to, I can go ahead before tomorrow, also copy and paste it. So even, if I get it out tomorrow morning, we can flood them tomorrow morning before the meeting. If you guys want me to do that, let me know. I can write that up probably in 10 minutes on my way to work. It's not that big a deal. But we need to make sure our voices are heard, because this CAT system is, like I've told you guys forever, this CAT system, these endgame rules, these are literally what's going to destroy everything for these guys. They're scared fucking shitless of it. They're scared shitless of it. And now they're trying to pick it apart. They're trying to sue it. They're trying to delay it. They're trying to now go, okay, well, you can have the CAT system, but we just want a loophole. All right, we just need our loophole. This will be abused like you've never seen. This will be abused with the CAT system like you have never seen. Because they'll go ahead and now they'll have non-special reporting rules for these shares. They won't have to report these ones, maybe even at all, for the CAT system. And if they don't even have to do that, it'll be the same thing. You will be going back to the same thing you have in the OAT system, and the real problem won't be fixed. It'll be just the same crap. It'll just be hot potato here. Hot potato, all over again. It'll be this all over again. FTDs, resetting. FTDs, resetting. And like I said, we see all these shares, and here's the thing that you guys don't understand. You guys see the total shares sold, not yet purchased, in their liabilities, their assets. Most of this stuff isn't reported on their balance sheet. And their true derivatives exposure, you don't even see it. And that's the problem. You don't even see their true derivatives exposure. You don't see the fact that when Dougie Fresh needs all these other shares, he can go over and get a little boost, a little band-aid from Ken Griffin through ISDA agreements. They can go ahead and write themselves up some fucking, oh, you need some Mary put buy rights. And why do that? I already showed you guys. You can go ahead and you can create these, which they can create them. So they go ahead and they create the options. They go ahead and so they can create the options. They can create the naked options. They can create them without locating the shares to back those options. So they can go ahead and create a naked option. Okay. And then you go ahead and Mary put it, buy right, and then the buy rights are for tax purposes. So basically they can do this, collect these fees, say they have these shares, and then when it comes time, boom, they got them for taxes. Tax-free, baby. Tax-free, baby. Whoa, you know what I'm saying? To be rich and famous, you know what I mean? So again, I want everybody who's watching this, go ahead, read this link. Go ahead and read this. Hit Control F at the top, hit in BONA space FID, read Bonafide Market Maker. Go ahead and read all the special things. It goes in depth. I'm not going to go over this hardcore today because I went over this many times. But as you guys can see, for years they're able to go ahead. For years, you guys, for years and years, they were just putting shares off into this on overstock. Years and years. They've been doing this to AMC for years and years and years. Like I said, it's a complete fucking joke. And now they're trying to, again, everybody, make sure your voice is heard. This has got to go through. This was a massive amendment. And I remember when I showed everybody this, it was like a couple months ago. I was super jacked because I go, they can't get around this bullshit. They can't do their sham resets. They can't get around their sham closeouts. They can't do that crap anymore. This is finally going to stop it. And all of a sudden, here you go. And they're, oh my God. All right, well, if the CAT system's going to go through, you can't stop our bullshit. Because if we stop our FTD pile, if we stop our rotating pile, see, this is what people don't understand. It's just a constant rotating pile of fucking FTDs filled with naked fucking options, shorts, shares, all this. And that's just on the ISDA side. I've already shown you guys the entire iceberg, and it's fucking deeper than hell. We're talking foreign exchanges. We've went over every single tip of it. There's like 15 areas these guys can go ahead and cheat with. Like I said, this is all going to start to be tracked, and now they know they can't stop the CAT system. They know they can't stop it. So what are they trying to do? They do what they always try and do. Pick it apart. This is exactly what they want to do to the endgame rules. I told you guys we're going to get an updated draft in August. This is exactly what they're trying to do to the endgame rules. They know they can't stop this anymore, so they got to make sure that they still have their massive fucking loophole to continuously push the crime out, and they want to say, retail will never figure this out. Like I said, I don't give a shit if you like me. I don't care if you like AMC. I don't care anything about anything. If you're retail, this affects you. Guess what? This affects you quite a fucking bit. Because guess what? Now they'll suddenly start they'll have stock on reg shows suddenly way more than ever. It'll start popping up on reg shows, and all of a sudden they'll be like, what the fuck? And guess what? They'll actually have to go cover those shares now with actual shares instead of this fucking resetting bullshit through this garbage they can do in ISDA. So this is a massive deal, you guys. This is why they go, nope, we cannot allow this to happen. This cannot go through. We need to, again, have meeting with Congress literally just about this provision. Just about this provision. They don't want 13. They don't want 13F2, and they don't want the provision. They don't want any of this. And this was, guess what? Created because of the 2008 financial crisis. Crazy. All right. Let's that's all I wanted to show you. If you guys if you're here just for the cat system update, like I said, that was the breaking news. Now I'm going to go into the AMC proxy vote. Does anyone have any questions at all? Quick before I even move on. Does anyone have any questions at all about the cat system, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to stop? Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'll get to more at the end of the day. How big a chance do we have to win tomorrow? What do you mean by win tomorrow? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm gonna move on until you answer that. I don't know what you mean by that, my friend. Now let's get into the proxy voting. I'm not going to tell you guys any way I'm voting. I'm not going to tell you guys any way to vote. I'm going to literally tell you pros and cons to every single one of these questions that you're voting on, and that's going to be it. You guys are adults. You can make your own decisions, and there's people that just need a video out there that explains it to them and isn't biased. I'm going to tell you pros and cons to every single vote. So let's go to the first one here. What is this? Okay, so this is to declassify the board. So right now we have an extended board. So we have it so it's 3 years. So every 3 years, instead of annually, you'll vote to replace these people. Now you have these people that make no sense. They want Adam Aaron out, but then they tell you to say no to this, say no to everything. Okay, well, I'm just saying, if you hate him so much, why wouldn't and you guys want him to be held accountable? Well, I can't tell you. I'm not going to say that, but I'm just saying, like, they make no sense. Like, okay, why, if you want him to be held accountable, wouldn't you want to say yes? So every year you have the chance to replace him and hold them accountable. I mean, they just, like I said, these guys hate these people so much, they just tell you to vote no on everything. So I'm not even going to get into those. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to tell you pros and cons. So let's just go pros and cons. All right, so this is to change it from 3 to 1 year, the pros. You can increase accountability for obviously increase accountability. So if these guys are held for an election every single year, if they're not doing their job, you can replace them sooner. On top of that, you have improved board performance. So they're going to probably do a lot. They're going to be more inclined to always do better things. Maybe come up with faster, quicker revenue. They're going to always want to be performing because they know that their job could be replaced every year instead of every 3 years, because sometimes, as we know, board members will get a little comfy if they know they got a couple of years still left. So it makes them, better perform. And like I said, you can hold them accountable as well. Give shareholders more control, I wrote, over who controls the company. This can lead to better engagement with shareholders, and this can align the company's, interest with the shareholders and the board members more, because now the shareholders continuously have, a say who is on the board. If you're not aligned with their interests, you can be replaced. So that's the last thing I wrote there as well. So for cons, it increases hostile takeover risks. Obviously, if somebody gets a ton of votes and every year they can replace board members, they can get in a hostile takeover a lot quicker. Obviously, if it takes 3 years, it's going to take them a lot more time, and you'll have a lot more time to react to the hostile takeover. You can initiate a red pill. You can go ahead and do another offering. There's a whole bunch of things you can do to counteract it, which, if it makes it a lot better chance that they can do a hostile takeover, because again, you have less time to react to it as well. Number 2, it creates uncertainty in the board, because if you're constantly replacing somebody, the board doesn't know what direction it's ever going. How can it know if suddenly, hey, let's go this direction, and then next, all of a sudden, hey, a new person's here, a new person's here, a new person's here, and then they want to go in a totally different direction. So it can also hurt a company, because suddenly it never knows where it's going, which could lead to lost opportunities, stalemate on company development. It can lead to problems through that as well. Potential increased costs. Oh wait, sorry, I went down too far. What's the last one I got there for that one? Oh, and the last one is you might not attract as much, talent towards your board if they think that their job every year will be on the line. They might not be as attractive as one where, hey, I can go over here for sure for 3 years. So it might hurt your recruiting abilities for better talent on the board. Let's see here. I'm not even going to go over number 2. It's just all the people. I mean, if you like them, go ahead and vote yes or vote no if you don't like them. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I really need to go over that one. Now, number 3. What are we on here? Oh, okay. So right now, this is talking about shareholders being able to do written consent. So basically, this would be able to be heard more than just at an annual meeting. If you had enough shareholders, you can go ahead and voice your opinion to the boards. So let's go ahead and do the pros on this. Obviously, this would give shareholders more say and more engagement with the company. You wouldn't have to wait, yearly to have your voice heard. If there's some type of opportunity or if there's something that the board, the company is thinking on, you can have more say in the direction that they go. On top of that, there'll be certain decisions, the board might make. And if we had time, it could be a timing issue. And by the time, the annual meeting's up, well, guess what? That issue's already long gone and past. This way, again, you can constantly tell the board, hey, we feel we need to go in this direction. It's not just a yearly thing. So on top of that, this with the letters, it can save the company money because that way you're not having to do special meetings to be heard. You're heard more, than just the yearly meeting. One of the things they talk about later on is being able to delay the meeting. So that means if the meeting's delayed, so if that gets voted yes, and they have the ability, if they don't have enough shares, if it gets delayed, you can still be heard by doing a letter of consent. You don't need to go, okay, well, now we can't wait, we can't vote or do anything like that until then. So like I said, it gives you the ability to, if you have enough people, which that's the thing. Here's one of the things I want people to understand with retail here. In AMC, you have majority shares. We need to somehow come up with a way that brings all the shareholders together, that we can prove these shares type thing. We can come together. We can do these letters. We can have it because we do have a big enough of a voice and come to, type of unite type thing to where, all right, we want to tell the board which type of direction we can go. This gives us that ability, but we need to be able to do that as well. So some of the cons here. Obviously, there's potential for abuse if there's a small group that gets enough shares to write those consents. They might potentially lead the company in a way that is not good for shareholders but benefits them. So in other words, if a short seller, let's say, gets enough shares, and all of a sudden they start to tell the board, hey, we need you to go this way. We think you should do this. We think you should do this. You got to do this. And the board's like, all right, well, that's a majority. That's a majority. It can lead to a downfall of the company. It can lead to abuse. So that is a con to being able to do this as well. On top of that, it also opens up potential to litigation for the company. So let's say there was a written action taken. There was a whole bunch of written action taken, and suddenly it wasn't followed, and shareholders think you didn't act in the best of interest, and you did something the opposite of what they said. It potentially opens up, litigation. So there's that risk as well. Now, what are we on here? So, like I said, there's tons of pros of shareholders being able to be heard, but you have the potential of the wrong shareholders being heard. So there's definitely pros and cons to that. Now, when it comes to AMC, I will also make this point. A lot of people, one thing I do, like I said, Adam Aaron does plenty of shit wrong, but one of the things I do give him credit for is he does interact with people on Twitter. He does read his Twitter. He does, because he knows his shareholders, and he does kind of, get the gist and main feel sometimes on issues on how retail feels. So there's that as well. That's something AMC has currently that others don't. So like I said, vote however you guys feel, but I'm just throwing things out there. But these, like I said, just pros and cons. Let's see here now. Number 4, to amend and reinstate. Okay, so this is our ability to call special meetings. So basically, if you have enough, you don't have to sit there and wait for an annual meeting. If there's enough shareholders that can gather together and say, hey, we need to have an important shareholder special meeting to have voices concern, we want that ability to be able to do that. So number 1, we can address issues more quickly, since you'll be able to call a shareholder meeting. Maybe the letters don't get approved, so doing a shareholder meeting is the way you feel would be a better way to go. Maybe both get approved, so you can constantly be heard. Maybe you write a letter. If there's no action taken from the letter, then you can call a special meeting. They kind of can play off of each other in a sense, and by doing yeses on those, you're also giving shareholders you're constantly giving them the ability to govern the board. So what was I just on? Okay, so like I said, issue can be dealt with more quickly if it's a massive issue. On top of that, like I said, if it's time sensitive, now let's say you needed a decision made in a week. Well, by the time the shareholder meeting comes, it's already long and gone. So time sensitive issues can now be dealt with. Again, as I went over on number 2, shareholders can better govern the board. Since we can call special meetings, we can have our voices heard, concern met on any important issues. 3, you can hold the board more accountable, since you can, call, instead of them just doing things, you can call a special meeting, you can advise them, and, if they don't act in the best, interest of shareholders, well, then guess what? You can start holding those guys accountable and making decisions from there. Like I said, if people are breaking judiciary duties, well, potentially that opens up that person for a lawsuit currently instead of the company, which we'll get into down the road here in a second. But plenty of other things. You can remove them. Tons of things. You can remove the board. So let's go ahead and move down some more here. Where am I at here? Like I said, in number 4, I had timely matters. You want to make sure you can address issues before, they come and go. And then by the time you even get to say, it's like, well, that would happen. Like maybe people, no, I can't say we couldn't. I mean, maybe if you had a special meeting a long time ago, we could have told them more how to manage the money type of things. Like, that's the thing. You can have these guys, these special meetings, say, hey, we think you need to focus more on this, stop doing this. Like, you can do things like that with special meetings. And then when you do a special meeting type thing, they're listening, trust me. That's how you get a board's attention. So, all right. Now, the cons for being able to have special meetings. Obviously, potential for abuse. Again, same situation as last time. If these guys, they get a majority and they write a letter and then you don't act on their letter, well, now they can call a special meeting. And now they can make it, because they have a giant amount of shares, they can make it the meeting, kind of sound like, hey, because who do you think is going to show up to the meeting more and ask the questions? And so they can manipulate it a lot more as well. So tons of potential for abuse as well. Special meetings also cost the company money. So on top of that, if you have a person that wants to short AMC, they have the ability to call meetings. They can just call meetings just to waste AMC's money. Again, one of the other things that this can do is this can lead to, and this could be, it's up to you. This could be a pro or this could be a con, but currently I have it under con. This could, again, lead to short-term thinking or improper business decisions, because obviously now you'll have some person, calling bad meetings and stuff like that, and they're saying we need to do this when obviously it's not the best thing. Or you can have retail calling meetings on situations they don't understand and saying we need to go on this direction, and then that could be the wrong choice. So I mean, but that's not what I was trying to get at on. This could be a pro or a con. Sorry, not the last one. That last one was a con. This could be a pro or a con. This could also lead now to the board members, doing more short-term thinking, taking risks that are better in the short term, maybe riskier in the long term, because now you have shareholders again demanding profits, doing this. Now that can be, again, you could say, well, that sounds like a good thing. That means that they can constantly have to be coming up with revenue, or they feel that they constantly need to be coming out with a new product, a new this. Well, in AMC's situation, kind of what I feel like you guys need to be doing. They're doing great, don't get me wrong. You went up, you got the shop, you're adding sweets. Again, you've expanded your popcorn. They're doing tons of things to improve. Again, tons of things that sorry about that. I have to take a drink here quick. So they're doing tons of things to improve their fundamental side, but like I said, they're doing it also for long term as well, because they know that the box office is going to, here's a perfect example. They're doing tons of things to improve the fundamentals because they know the box office will improve in 2025, 2026. Well, Megaopolis, here's a perfect example. So short-term thinking. Megaopolis wanted $40 million. Well, if somebody wanted us to get that and wanted to say and said, hey, you're going to spend that money anyways and just take the risk, because we want to make sure we want to take the risk on short-term potential, even though it could hurt the company long-term potential, we still want you to spend that $40 million on Megaopolis. That's something that you're thinking short-term. That board member say, let's spend the money right now because I don't want to get replaced. I got to take that risk. So you're open to bigger risks as well. All right, so that was number 4. What are we at now? Number 5. All right. Number 5. I want to just tell you how I'm voting on this one, but I don't want to sway people into anything. But you're going to be able to probably tell which way I'm voting on this one. Okay, so I couldn't think of very many pros. Let's just go that way. Pros. You're going to reduce litigation chances. You're going to reduce the insurance costs for the company. And you're going to get better board member and talent because they're not going to really worried about getting lawsuits. Now, my con list is going to be a lot bigger if that doesn't tell you how I'm voting. But I can't really think of very many more pros to this. It was a new rule in Delaware about 1.5 years ago, and a ton of companies are adopting it. And it doesn't mean it's a good thing just because all these companies are, going on to say, oh, we want this. Because the way I look at it is all they're doing is, hey, we want to protect our bigwigs. And I'm not about that lifestyle. So here we go. Cons. If this gets passed, it leads to more reckless decisions. Again, somebody might have took that risk, on Megaopolis if they're like, hey, I have no chance of being sued. I have nothing, but my job's on the line. Okay. So if this passes, you might have reckless decisions. Now, I have read this everywhere from head to toe. I have listened to tons of people talk about it doesn't hold them liable if they do this or this. If they break fiduciary duty of care, you still can't sue them. It limits a lot of the liabilities that they're held accountable for. They can break fiduciary duty, meaning that the officer, instead of people going after the officer, the problem is now, since they can't sue the reckless board member, they'll sue the company. So now instead of opening up litigation to a specific individual, you're now opening it up to the company. And why would you want that? All right, I'm just going to say it right now. Just say no to number 5. Just say no. The only good thing is you can't get people like Ethan suing. But he's in Riker Island, so I don't really care about him anymore. Just say no. Just say no to number 5. I don't care. Just say no. On top of that, another con, it leads to less trust in the company board from shareholders because you can't sue them. They can go ahead and do whatever, and that might give off a bad image to potential shareholders. They'll look over and be like, well, I can't hold these guys liable. Fuck that. No. If we vote yes on the other ones and we're able to govern the board, the problem would be is if they didn't, we can't hold these, again, specific individuals liable. Now you're going to have people constantly coming after the company. Whatever you do, I don't care who you listen to, say no to number 5. Say no to number 5. Like, fill it in as dark as you can. No, absolutely not. Number 5 is trash. Absolutely not. Number 6 here. I didn't really do a pro and con on number 6. Just say yes to number 6 right now. I'm telling you right now, if you change companies right now, it's a very expensive, long, tons of focus, massive process that AMC really just does not need to go through right now. It's in no one's fucking interest. And Ernst & Young, they do tons of companies. I don't look over and go, AMC looks like they're lying on their books. I mean, right now, it's just not worth it. I'm just going to be real with you. It's just not worth it right now. We can vote on it again next year. If you really, this time and place, 2025, you'll start to be profitable. Still in 2025, that's when you can maybe think about it. But right now, I'm telling you right now, it's just not worth it. So number 6, I'm telling you, just say yes. I'm sorry, I told people I wouldn't say what you should say on certain ones, but these ones, like, number 5 is important. Just say no. Number 6, just say yes. It's important to not fuck the company at this point. It's important to hold these guys liable. It is. It's just common sense here. Number 7. What are we looking at? Oh, okay. This is the safer pay. Who gives a shit what we say? It's an advisory vote. I don't care. It's an advisory vote. They just want an opinion. Yes, no on the safer pay. I said yes. I don't care. Go for it. You're going to do it whether I say yes or no either way, so whatever. Number 8, where are we at? Oh, number 8 is to approve our 2024 equity incentive plan. Yes, just say yes, guys. You should always give them their incentive plan. It attracts. There's no reason these guys shouldn't have incentives in play. It also goes to whether you hate the fucking CEO and the board members. You're talking about this stuff going to your average theater worker, your managers, the regional managers. It's not just those dudes up at the top. The safer pay thing is an incentive for all these people as well. And on top of that, you got to do that or you're not going to get any board members that want to come. Like, you just got to give them shit at this point. Number 9, sorry, I think she's waking up, so I'm trying to go a little quicker here. What's the last one here? Oh, number 9 just means that they can delay. So if they don't get enough votes, if they don't feel like enough of the company voted to represent something, they can delay the meeting. Now, if you go ahead and say yes to the letter, if you say yes to the special meeting, this isn't as big of a deal if they delay a meeting because you can still be heard. You don't have to wait until the meeting gets delayed and all of a sudden, all right, now we can talk. You can be heard through a letter. You can be heard through a special meeting. So I feel like the pros and cons, I will tell you pros and cons to number 9. I did write pros and cons down. So number 9, a pro is make sure enough shareholders get a say in a decision before you make one. So you're basically making sure enough of the company says yes or no before you're just like, yep, let's just do this. Increases participation because more people are going to say, all right, if they're going to delay votes and I can't be heard longer, then it'll make more people be incentivized to vote, which that's always good because now you have more of your company heard. Number 3, gives people more time to make a decision if needed. Number 4, avoids potential legal issues, because if now you have enough of people saying, all right, we had this entire amount of people say yes, as we went over before in the lawsuit before. Well, if all of these people are saying yes, how are you going to sue us? So it gives them more time, and again, it avoids potential lawsuits. Now, cons, if we don't pass the other vote. Okay, so some of the cons, so if you don't, here's some cons. So if, let's say you say no to special meetings, you say no to the letter, well, this way, if it gets delayed, that means your voice is not heard for a lot longer. Well, again, that might mean they need to actually make a decision on something because it might be a time-sensitive opportunity, and by the time the special meeting comes, well, things could also change on the docket. So there's pros and cons to both of those, but you guys vote what you want to on those ones. All right, now I'm all done going over that. I'm just going to go over questions for about 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about anything? It doesn't matter what it's on. If it's in the market, if it's in fraud, if it's in corruption, go ahead and ask. It is, yeah, I mean, the incentive program, it is. I mean, that's the thing. It's like that in every company. I mean, we can sit there and say, all right, you need to change it and change it and change it, but I mean, I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's up to you. Is that a battle you feel is worth fighting? I'm not going to tell you not to fight it. If you feel that it's a battle, say no to their incentive program. I don't care. I don't care how you vote. I don't care how you feel about something. That's personally how you feel about something. I'm here to give you information. Other than number 5. I mean, number 5, I did give you information, and then I did tell you to vote no. But I gave you the information to back the reason why you say no. Like, that was bad, dude. Like, number 5 is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. CNS program, yeah, CNS program is a complete fucking joke, dude. CNS program has, like I said, guys, if you've listened to me, you know what the CNS program is. If you are listening for the first time, here's your homework today. Google DTCC space CNS program and look at the fuckery. If you want to know how market makers and all these people and what people are talking about when they say synthetic shares, Google CNS program or DTCC CNS program. Go back in my videos and watch it, and there's all the skeletons. There will be all your answers. We need the SEC to look into sorting sections. Exactly, you guys. Again, if you've been listening, again, you guys, make sure you email Congress, whatever state you're in. Go on their Twitter today. If you have Twitter, spam their fucking shit. Spam the hell out of it. Spam that we want this to go through. Spam that they need to let this go through. I don't give a fuck. Spam the shit out of them. Well, don't spam them like individually, but you know what I mean. Like, hundreds of you guys need to start all over these dudes. Don't do 100 messages to where you get kicked off. But again, flood these fuckers' pages with this shit. This is insanely important. Even without the CAT system, it's going to collapse. But with the CAT system, you'll be able to hold the people who collapsed it more accountable. And you might stop them in the process from continuously making it worse and worse and worse. Because as you guys can see, I mean, yeah, see, here we go. This is why it's stupid. Yeah, see that. Like I said, it's all about this 203B, which is what I've been talking about. Like I said, it's all about them being able to reset FTDs, and if they can't reset FTDs, they're going to have to start filling orders. And if they have to fill orders, they're fucked. If they let that loophole through, are we fucked? I don't think we're fucked. Like he said, I mean, they're going to be able to get around it in a certain manner. It's not going to, it's not going to be like, all right, well, they're going to be able to do whatever forever now. Like I said, everything, when these banks get fucked up, it's over anyways. But I want to make sure that these people are held accountable. I want to make sure after they're held accountable, this stops. If we don't let them sit here and if they keep just stripping everything, then it just proves you and we talking about it. I'm serious. At that point, a revolution needs to be talked about. Seriously, because at that point, regulators just proved you. We're not here to regulate. We're not here to regulate them. We're here to give the appearance of regulations. We're here to have them sign acceptance waivers and consents, which keeps them out of criminal court systems, which means that the only reason regulators are there is to keep them out of the court system and keep them in their own little fucking world. And as long as acceptance waivers and consents exist, crime will continue. Everybody listening, on Thursday, I'm going to do a space call on Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and do it live as well. So I'll have, the chat up and everybody can ask questions in there as well. I'll be going back and forth. But I'm going to go ahead and just, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. It's not going to be my typical video. But I've been asked to do a space call, and I don't know. They can be very entertaining and very informative. So I'm not going to have, multiple speakers. It's just going to be me pulling one person up at a time. I'm going to let them ask a question, maybe talk to them for a second or two, and then move on to the next one. Try and get as many as I can in. Because I know space calls can get completely out of control. Even if you have a co-star, even if you have one or two people, it's not hard to manage a space call and talk. I can go ahead and do that. So just so everybody knows, I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can on Thursday and all. So whatever you guys can think of, write down. Get that all ready for me. So, see, is there any questions at all? Be sad. Sounds like they let me look up. Class action lawsuit. I mean, that's the problem. We can do class action lawsuits, but at the same time, we're all gonna get 33 pennies. The lawyers win, and is the suit gonna really hurt them enough to fuck them up? Can we sue them again after for repeated offenses? Hold on. I tuned in late. Salty Dog, I already went over all those votes, man. Just rewind the video, man. I literally just broke every single one of those down for about 20 minutes. I see many questions. What time? I think I'm going to try and do it around noon or 1 like normal. Yeah, Pollut's kind of a clown. I'm not a really big Pollute fan. I mean, the stuff he was doing on Twitter was pretty fucking weird, so not all about that guy. But I mean, hey, if Trump stuff goes I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about Trump. I mean, he did call out Ken Griffin at least, and he still continuously, so at least he did one thing right, I suppose. I don't know. It's hard for me to like I just hate all politicians. I mean, I just hate them all. They're all just corrupt fucking pieces of trash. But I mean, like I said, hopefully, they get after Ken. Hopefully they can show people the way a little bit more. And I hope, these Trump people fuck these market makers up. And then at that point, guess what? If these votes pass AMC, we can go ahead and host a special meeting. And whatever the hell Trump's advisors did or whatever they do to get these guys, if they do actually get them, guess what we can say in our special meeting? Adam, we're going to take this exact fucking process and we want to go over the last 3 years and we'll figure it out legally and we'll figure it out cost. You can go ahead and sell some shares, because I don't think there'll be one person in the world at that point, if they find a way to get them at that point, that will be like, oh, we can do a ATM program to pay for all of our legal fees and go fuck up Ken. Isn't that the point? So I hope I hope, these Trump guys get these fuckers and give us the path, man. It's all about finding a path, and because these, like I said, conflict of interest here. Oh, time out. I forgot to show you guys the most important part about this bullshit. Hold on, you guys. You have to see this. I can't believe I forgot this part. So, if you guys look at this meeting, and I want you guys to understand this, the SEC is now on their fucking side, okay? If you guys look at this meeting and who's hosting it, guess who this is? It's Mercado Center. Guess who that is? It's the same exact people who pay Hester Pierce 98% of her salary. That is a think tank that is against regulation. They're literally a radical anti-regulatory agenda. They're literally a company that is against regulation. They're against transparency, and they pay Hester Pierce. So Hester Pierce is already all about fucking dropping this. So a regulation committee that is against transparency, a regulation committee that is against rules, is the one hosting this. And they're the ones that want to talk about short positions. I don't know how I forgot that. But once again, the people that are hosting this meeting paid off Hester Pierce for years before she went in the SEC, and there's rumors she's still part of that group getting paid. Well, if that's the case, again, the SEC's already behind it. Or at least one of the members is, because her fucking firm is calling for the meeting. Man, AMC's price, was it fucking collapsed or something? What's going on with AMC's price? I haven't even looked today, dude. What is this, fucking plummeting down? I mean, all these people, I got yelled at today because all these people on GameStop were like, you were talking shit about GameStop, and I'm like, yeah, you guys also told me on Monday it was going to be at $30 fucking dollars. And I think at one point it went down like $1 today. I haven't been paying attention. It went down like, fucker dropped like $2.50 today. It went back up. But at one point I'm like, y'all don't see what's happening here? I'm just not trying to lead people down astray. Like I told people, everyone's like, so you're just gonna blame the price action every time we go to 350 or 340 and drop down to 309, and you're just gonna say it's dilution? Yeah, I'm gonna say it's fucking dilution. You want to know why? Because that's what the 10K told me. Whenever they were about 320 to 340 to 308, guess what? They fucking diluted. So I said, guys, guess what? AMC's price is gonna bounce around 340 for a while to $3. Plan accordingly. So, again, I'm not trying to lead you astray. I'm not trying to look at you guys. See, that's the one thing I've never done to you guys. You guys, I know how to do TA. You think that's the thing. You guys don't think if I wanted to do daily videos, hey, watch me do some TA on this shit. Who cares what TA says? On most of this stuff. Like, obviously, I can do it. I mean, I showed you a lot of things. Especially the Coinbase trade. That Coinbase trade was probably my biggest trade. Like I said, we went up $112 a share. That was very nice. But I'm not trying to sit there and be like, oh, look at this. This is going to say this because if they want to fucking manipulate it, they're going to fucking manipulate it. And everyone who does, oh, look at this TA. This says, you don't even know what you're talking about half the time. If this holds right here for like, if it holds at this price for like, if it holds at like 15.50 for like, 2.5 hours, what are you talking about? If it sits here and holds and then goes up more, then it'll just keep flying up. What are you fucking talking about? Or it could go back down. That's my favorite part. It could go flying to 30, or it could go right back. Okay, you literally just said it could go up or down, but you're continuously saying the word 30, so everybody's fucking jacked, and then you have people going to run into call options and they get railed. Huh. And it's the same shit for years. I don't need to show you charts. I just need to show you information. Guess what? I didn't need to show you charts about the Coinbase trade. I told you Coinbase is about to be an ETF, or the custodial, to 8 Bitcoin ETFs. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to make fucking bank. 2 weeks later, it jumped up $112. Now, I told people to get Coinbase instead because why? Coinbase was a lot less cheaper than fucking... lot cheaper to get into than Bitcoin. Way cheaper to get into Bitcoin. That's one of the things like I said, the only time I ever agreed with Lou ever. One of the main ways I make money is I do event trading. Event trading can be very successful. But the wife is up, guys. I'm gonna get going here. Again, I'll be live on Thursday. I'm gonna try and get something set up again with Peter. I know a lot of people wanted to have one more Peter thing here. Maybe I'll get Boss Blunts on here. I know he wanted to do a collab quick, so be a couple collabs here in the upcoming week. So I'll talk to you guys very soon. Again, come on Thursday with as many questions as you guys can answer. I want to make sure, if you have a question, hopefully by the end of it you understand whatever you need to understand. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.